ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's time for What Do You Call It? Podcast!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It? Podcast. I'm your host, GB. Today's guest is a pro wrestler and actor, PT, personal trainer in the fitness. And she was born in the Midwest, fighting out of Brooklyn, New York. I can't believe I'm going to say this first time on the show. She'll kick your ass, steal your girl, and fuck your mom. Good thing this isn't a family show. I didn't even want to rehearse. I just want to see what my natural reaction would be, and I love it. I've never said it out loud, but it's awesome. Please welcome Sazzy Boatright. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I just took a big nap and I'm ready to interview.
Awesome. I thought you was going to say a big shit because I see you put that on Twitter quite a lot.
That was earlier.
This is going to be a fun show. No, it's awesome. It's awesome. Thank you for coming on. Just before we discuss your wrestling career, I want to ask about your acting. I've actually done a few odd films myself as an extra.
Nice.
Barely see me in it, but I think I'm on IMDb actually, if I believe correctly. I didn't actually make it myself. But we're not here to talk about me. I thought I'd squeeze in this chat about your acting. I've seen you on your own IMDb page. I always get that word up for some reason. A lot of films you've done, TV series, including Bluebirds, Law and Order, and even involved in Orange is the New Black. Very big show. I want to ask, when did you catch the acting bug?
Oh gosh. I mean, it was probably like high school or something, you know what I mean? And I'm also like in Orange is the New Black, you blink and you'll miss me. You know what I mean? Like I've got a little line. Yeah, it was nice. It was like fun to hang out with a couple of TV stars for the day, but but yeah, it was like that was something that I had always wanted to do. Like I knew that I wanted to be a performer from a very young age. And it's a real slog in New York City and in LA, obviously, but New York is a little bit different from, say, LA because we're so jammed together here, and there's like you could be doing one thing one day and then suddenly you're on, like when I got cast on Orange is the New Black, it was like 2 days later. You know what I mean? Like I auditioned and then I got into the train to go home, and then when I got out of the train I had missed a call from my manager and he was like, "You're cast on Orange is the New Black," and I was like, oh my god, like I'm not even, and they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna shoot it like in 2 days and your fitting is tomorrow," you know. So things just like move different, and like I don't know, it sometimes there's a bunch of things that'll come up, and sometimes there will be months or even years where you don't hear anything, but I don't know, I think that's
list and credits, you do seem to be quite busy with work.
It's funny. It's funny because I'm glad it looks that way, but it's like there was a period of time where I was booking one thing after another, and then there was a period of time where I like really didn't book anything for a long time. And earlier last year, I think I did FBI, and I've been auditioning every week for different TV shows and different films and stuff, and I haven't really been booking anything, but I know that I'm in every casting director in New York City's files because I've auditioned for all of them. So
that's pretty cool though. I like that.
Yeah.
What role would you say is your most proudest work so far in your acting career?
It would probably be Law and Order SVU, because apparently that's everybody's favorite show in New York City. but that's always the one that when I tell people that I've been on it, I get the biggest pop, because people like, or I'll get, this is my dog, and he's going to stay here for the duration of the
that's cool. That's cool.
but but yeah, like people have texted me in the middle of the night, or like, you know, just at random times of the day, be like, oh my god, I wasn't on an airplane and I saw you on Law and Order SVU, and I was like, that's cool. Glad it's still airing, you know what I mean?
Could you have waited till the morning to text me this?
Yeah. Happy to hear it at any time of the day or night. Yeah, so that was probably like the most outstanding TV thing I've done thus far. I wish I was doing more theater stuff like that, but that's really, I mean, probably not unlike in the UK. It's kind of like a medium that's reserved for people who have gotten their like schooling in it.
Yeah.
To some extent. Yeah. And I did not go to school to be an actor. I went to art school. So like I kind of have carved out this career on my own without like the help of my university or anything. And that's been fine, you know, but it's also like, I wonder sometimes where I'd be if I had gone to school for theater or for acting. That's something that I think that's also why I was drawn to professional wrestling, because I love like the live element, but I'm not like an academic actor with a capital A, you know. Like,
I mean, you've done quite well though. I mean, like, I know you said that you wonder what it would have been like if you had gone, but you still, you know, still actively involved, still getting work. And obviously, it's good. Do you have any upcoming projects that you can sort of share with the listeners?
Do I? That's things that aren't wrestling related. No, I don't think I do. I have been like regularly auditioning for new streaming series all the time. It feels like there's something new in development like every week. So like something that I've never heard of, I'll go on tape for, or I'll go on tape for like Bull for the 17th time, you know. Did not get cast on that show and now it's ending, so their loss. But yeah, it's I definitely am in a place as an actor that I wished I was 10 years ago, where I'm like in the union, I've booked some things, I have an agent, I have a manager, you know, like people are kind of working on my behalf, which is cool. And that's all that you could really ask for as a working actor in New York City, you know. Yeah.
Got your foot in the door then. No, that's pretty cool. I wanted to ask about the acting. I like to think I'm a film goer, and I thought I'd do like the extra work myself just to get the experience. It's not for me. I've got terrible memory, so I couldn't remember lines to save my life. So, but no, that's cool. Thank you for sharing that. Actually, wrestling. How I know you. When did you become a wrestling fan?
I became a wrestling fan. Well, okay, so I watched some wrestling. I once dated boys, if you can imagine, but when I was in high school, I was dating this little shithead who loved wrestling, and I loved hanging out with him and his friends and like watching wrestling in the basement and stuff. And that was like the era of China, and Goldberg was really on top, and Triple H, and you know, kind of like the beginnings of John Series,
like the Attitude Era, like the biggest periods of all time.
It was like just post Attitude, but also like the beginning of John Cena's career, you know, like it was like
so just in between
like kind of. Yeah, like I had just kind of missed Attitude Era, but then came back to that later in my life. But so I did a little bit of watching in high school. I went to art school, did not even talk about pro wrestling. I pretended like I had never known what that is. I tried to elevate my palate. I tried to be a different person. And yeah, so I dropped off for a long time, and then in 2016, I was taken to my first live wrestling show, which was an Evolve show in Queens. And on that Evolve show, I saw Fred Yehi, I saw Matt Riddle, I saw Chris Hero and Dan Barry and his tag team partner at the time. I saw Drew Gulak and Tracy Williams tag team. And I saw Johnny Gargano and Zack Sabre Jr. And
Big up to Zack
that
Sabre
was
Jr.
like,
Fellow.
yeah, I mean, hell yeah, you know. I was like a big Zack Sabre. I mean, I am a big Zack Sabre Jr. fan. Not as big as one of my friends in my wrestling school who wants to marry him, but you know, like
If you're listening, Zach,
pretty big. Yeah. If you're listening, please reach out and I will fix you up. I don't know that she's old enough yet, but yeah, we'll figure it out. Something. But yeah, so I saw this great show, this great Evolve show before it, you know, went defunct or whatever.
Mhm.
And I met Drew Gulak and I met Johnny Gargano and stuff after the fact when they were selling their t-shirts, you know, just like all the other indie wrestlers. And you know, it was right before they got jettisoned to NXT.
Mhm.
And all those guys really. And then kind of struck up like a little friendship with Johnny Gargano, and I would like pick his brain about like wrestling, what that entails and what his background was and stuff. And you know, he was really like gracious with offering up like, you know, what he knew. That's something that's been very remarkable about wrestlers in general, is just
Mhm.
how generous wrestlers are with their knowledge of the business and of the technique of wrestling and things they've learned along the way. Like it's like it's unlike anything else. I think it's almost like
I mean,
an
'cause they were once
oral.
fans themselves, you know, so they know what it's
Exactly.
like.
It's like really special now too, because I think that there's been a lot of like, well, you've probably heard about like the controversy of like the toxicity of like wrestling schools and kind of like
Yeah,
coming up as
yeah.
an indie wrestler in America and stuff. I don't know how it
Yeah.
is in the
It
UK, but
was happening a lot here. Like, you know, several wrestlers, I won't mention their names, were
Mhm.
sort of called out, and you know, they're trying to clean up at the moment, which is good.
Right. So I don't know if that's why, you know, like I've had that experience, but maybe I've just gotten lucky or something. But
Mhm.
like everybody that I've encountered in the wrestling industry has been like very very nice and gracious with what they know. And Johnny Gargano was no different. So, you know, talked about training for a few years. I was kind of joking about it. I was kind of also like a little bit embarrassed about it, you know. I was like, but see, the thing is, I have a background in fitness.
Mhm.
I am an actor. I, you know, have some body control, some physical prowess, and I had a background in comedy at the time. I've done comedy for like, I was doing improv and stand-up comedy for like the better part of 4 years. So, you know, was dabbling in that. And by way of that, I kind of fell in
With the
with a
comedy,
bunch
by the
of
way, I can see a lot of it on your Twitter. It's really good.
I mean, you know, it's like the one thing I have going for me, you know, like I try to make it funny. And
Yeah.
I think that that's truly my roots, is like comedy wrestling, which was a phenomenon born out of the comedy scene that I was part of, and
Mhm.
also like where I met all my like first wrestling friends. Because eventually one of my friends, who is Delightful Dan, the goddamn candy man, he was the one who kind of drew me into my current wrestling academy, and we train together right now in Brooklyn.
Is that
um
T2T?
T
T
to
to T.
T.
That's it. T to T, not
Yeah.
T to T.
T. They certainly did not think about like how that rolled off the tongue,
Yeah.
but it's part of our it's part of our charm as a school, it's just like not really having a easy name. So yeah, but we I've that school is relatively new. It's sort of like a little ragtag wrestling group that like took residency inside a boxing gym, and it's been operating probably for 2 years now or something, and I have just reached my 1 year mark there. So like that's how that's kind of like a roundabout way of me telling you how I got into school. But I was training as a pro wrestler briefly in 2018 through an organization called FTW that was out of Long Island, and that was fine, like I had like a fine experience there, but it was very male heavy, and it was very like homogenous in this way that was, I don't know, I never felt super comfortable there, and it wasn't because of anybody or anything that happened there. It was just I just wasn't ready, I don't think, but I learned some of the basics there. I learned, how to lock up. I learned how to roll. I learned how to do some of that. And then I learned how to do like a flying head scissor, there was like
all the moves you can learn. That's the one you take away.
It was like, I think that I think that sometimes I don't know, because I've only been at 2 wrestling schools, but I think some wrestling schools like really get off on like teaching people high spots and then like leaving it at that, you know what I mean? And that was kind of how my whole wrestling career started anyway, was like friends of mine. I had another friend who was training at Chikara, and for our comedy wrestling shows, he would teach me high spots to do just for our like little shows. So I'd be doing the most dangerous shit like on a hardwood floor, like I let him body slam me inside a comedy theater, which was probably ill-advised, like a very thin gym mat.
Did you at least get a reaction from the crowd? If not, then it would have all been for nothing.
Oh, all 12 of them popped. They popped hard, they fucking lost it. So that is, yes, a very roundabout answer to your question, I think, but
no, that's cool. So it's been quite a different journey to previous guests. When you said that you went to that school, the first school, and when you started training, how long did you take a break, or did you go straight into T2T? So I have to say it really slow.
Just like slow it down.
You'll get it out. Sorry. How long did you take a break for then after the school?
So that would be, it was like 2018 into 2019. Does that make sense with the everything that I was doing? I think it was, no. Let me think about this. Maybe it was even, I think it was 2018 to 2019 or something. And I was also doing comedy at the same time. And I was like working my way up the ranks, so to speak, at Upright Citizens Brigade, rest in peace or whatever. And that kind of took precedent. That and like bullshit in my personal life took precedent. It really was just kind of like a fizzling out sort of for me for that first time around. And then Delightful Dan posted in like a Facebook group that we shared with like a bunch of other comedy people and comedy wrestlers. He said, "Hey, I found this new school in Williamsburg. It's amazing. I'm like learning a lot," which is like, it meant a lot to hear that from him, because he had been in Philly, like training and stuff. And he was really speaking very highly about this place. And then, so that was the pandemic. So yeah, it would have been 2019, 2021. I started in 2021 early 2021.
So you actually
So
did,
two
you
and a
did make
half
the official
years.
debut in the pandemic, which is crazy, to be fair.
Yeah, right. I guess it was kind of towards the end of like the worst part of the pandemic was like when I first started, like that was August 2021. So I kind of sat on it for a while. I really wanted to, but I was kind of like letting other things take precedent. And I was in a toxic job situation and some other stuff. Oh, I lost you. And then computers, am I right?
No. So you mentioned the pandemic, I thought it's affecting us now.
It's like wiping dust off of my computer and you're gone. I took probably like 2.5, 3 years, focused on other stuff, gotten really, really bang in shape because I was working at a gym full time. And then that whole situation imploded.
How you doing? I've got a special announcement for my next guest.
Hey, how you doing? It's Angel Orsini over here. Straight from Jersey on the What Do You Call It podcast. Coming soon, baby. Tune in.
Yeah, I heard.
So I took a few years and then I decided to just jump back in because I think I just got really sick of the pandemic and I got sick of my job and I got sick of kind of like shirking the things
Kind of like
that
nothing
I really
to
wanted
lose,
to
it's
do.
like, well, gives me something to do, I mean, during that time, it was quite scary. You didn't really know what the hell's going on. I think things are a bit normal now. And obviously you've been doing shows, but at the time when you were training during the pandemic and sort of what the protocols that were in place with these specific causes, like gloves, masks or anything like that?
Yeah, we were definitely masked like pretty much all the time. I think at one point, if we already had our 2 vaccinations, then we could lose the mask. And then the booster came out. I don't know. And then, oh my gosh, like, what was it? November 2021, like me and everyone caught COVID. It was like everyone caught COVID. We were like, we just have to cancel training for tonight and like just get well. Just fucking cool it for a second.
How did you feel about it? I actually got it that near the same time as you. I got it mine in December, first time. How did
really?
I actually spoke to anyone how they actually felt with COVID? Might as well something different new on the show.
Yeah, it was so depressing. Like sometimes I'm, when I'm feeling like I'm in a funk or I'm like having a hard time getting stuff done, I think to myself like, well, I just had COVID, and I'm like, that was 6 months ago. That was a long time ago, and I'm still kind of like feel like I haven't fully recovered from it sometimes, you know what I mean? And I think it's psychological, and that it knocked me out. It was really bad, which was the first surprise because I was fully vaccinated, and it was just like I felt as sick as I possibly could. And then like I don't know, and then all of this like bad shit happened like right around the same time, like, by virtue of yeah, like I ended up losing like a personal training client because like I had to cancel a bunch of our sessions because of COVID, and then I was late for like several sessions because I had COVID, and I was like not feeling good. And they got really mad at me and fired me. And I was just like, wow, I suck at everything. And like, I'm just gonna stop doing everything. You know what I mean? I was like really feeling quite sorry for myself, but
we're all human,
it's true. But I think that was the main takeaway of COVID, was like feeling very sorry for myself. Was hard to get back up on my feet after that. And then we also were getting the upside of it was that we were getting a ton of free food from the city. I don't know about where y'all are at, but like New York City just bombards you with free food when you have COVID. They like send you a free like pulse oximeter.
You just get a text
of masks.
and it says stay the fuck at home.
Oh my God. And they were calling me. It was like I was a famous person. They were like calling me nonstop. Like my phone was ringing nonstop. Like, do you have COVID? Okay, how long have you had COVID? How long do you need all these
we
things?
got that.
Da, 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 da. Yeah, like I couldn't. I was like, I'm sick, dude.
I
I'm
just ignored it at the end. I was just like, Joe, what? F off. I don't have it anymore. Don't need to give you the details. Everyone that have been around didn't actually get it. So F off. And to be honest, I mean, I'm not trying to gloat or anything, but when I did get it, the only thing I felt was tiredness. Had may or not the shits as well. And just tiredness. That was literally it. And, you know, stomach wasn't the best, but I could taste, no cough, no temperature. I just tested positive, but I had it ruin my Christmas. So that's a fucker. So.
Yeah, that's lucky. But not lucky when you're like having to deal with the phone calls and stuff. I couldn't believe it. My girlfriend lives with me, and she was like, I could hear her in the other room, like, no, like, and she's like, I don't have COVID. I'm not the one with COVID. I was like, yo, she's letting them have it.
Don't you ever get it again.
Yeah, I swear to God, I will never get COVID again if this is what happens. So it was a big road, it was a big bump in the road, but I don't think I even had to cancel any shows for it or anything. I just happened to not have many bookings at that time, but it felt like a huge gap in my training, you know, because I just couldn't train for 2 weeks, and maybe even a little bit longer than that. But yeah, it was a huge bummer, needless to say. But yeah, that was back in December, and I'm trying to think of like what yeah, it was like a really quiet time anyway, and then I started wrestling again in January, and I feel like I started having like a lot of anxiety around wrestling because I had taken all that time off, but also like it had been so long since I had been in front of an audience, it felt. So I kind of was like, I remember getting back into it and like being in my first show in a while in January, and I was like getting cotton mouth. Like I was so nervous that there was like no spit left in my mouth, which is so annoying, you know, especially as like a sober person who does not smoke weed. I'm like, this does not happen to me anymore unless it's an absolutely crucial time, and then I have no saliva in my mouth, you know.
Can't say I can relate.
So
can't say that.
Can't. Well, wow, how lucky for you. But yeah, so it definitely had like a big ripple effect, I think, having COVID.
When did you make the debut then? Last year. When was that? Your official debut?
That was less than a year ago. That was like August 2021. That was my first official match, I think.
So with fans, without fans?
With fans. That was MV Young organized like a polyam Woodstock party, and it wasn't in Woodstock, but it was like upstate, and it was supposed to be like a big outdoor thing, and it got broken up by the police. Is
that where you had the band perform your entrance theme?
Yeah,
that's quite cool.
It was great. I was like one of the only matches that actually ended up happening because everything else got canceled. It was supposed to be a whole day. I had spent like $100 on snacks at Target. I was like ready. I was ready for this whole fucking day. And I was like the first match. Yeah, I was basically the first match on. And I got played into the ring by Sorry Mom. And I had a match with my trainer, and it was very mediocre, you know. It was like
that's match though, and you've got someone performing the song, and the song's, you know, it's quite popular on YouTube. I mean, it's quite it's a massive guilt pleasure for me. It's very like it's, you know, it's very catchy. But I mean, at least you had the debut, perform, a band performed for you, and I mean, at least you're honest about how you felt the match was mediocre, but you know, you got to do it with fans there. I mean, some people may have not been able to, but the song, I just want to touch on the song just because it's in my mind. How did you get that sort of license to be your theme song?
So it was found for me by our promoter Tom. Tom also runs our school, and so Tom is kind of like this like supportive figure, not necessarily a trainer, but he like has really helped me kind of like find who Sazzy is to some extent. And one of the first promos I ever cut was on somebody in my class. We would do promo classes at school, and the first promo I ever cut was on a classmate whose gimmick was kind of like the shitty popular boyfriend in every 80s movie, you know? And he was like, yeah, kind of like made fun of my queerness a little bit, and like I said something controversial that I was just like, whatever. He had forgotten who I was, like he forgot my name, and I was like, that was the most offensive part of it for me. I was like, dude, we talk all the time and you don't know who Sazzy.
Like, you've been talking to me this whole time and don't know my fucking name.
Yeah, like, come on, dude. Like, so that was the thing I really latched onto. But then you know, he was cutting his promo, and then it was my turn to cut my promo back on him. And I was like, what? I was thinking to myself, like, what is the most, like, one of the most emasculating things that I could do that would be so fucking weird? What's so fucking weird, but like also so emasculating, and like nobody can do, like my opponent can't do anything about it. So I said, I don't know what I started cutting a promo about, you know, how I felt like people didn't take me seriously because I'm a little bit older than a lot of the people I train with. I'm a lot of bit older than a lot of people I train with. And, you know, I'm a woman and I'm queer, and, you know, I've kind of got all of these things sort of like fighting against my desire to be a wrestler. Not so much anymore, but, you know, just traditionally. And so I said, you know, I said this guy's name, and I was like, I'm going to murder you. Because I forgot what I was going to say initially. I said, I'm going to murder you. And I got a huge pot for that. And then I said, I'm going to steal your girl. And then I got another pot for that. And then I said, and I already fucked your mom, which I learned later that you're not supposed to. I mean, you really shouldn't say that you're going to do things that you're not going to, or you haven't already done, you know, like I didn't actually, but I was also just like, I was like, whatever, you know, I feel like the people need this right now. So that video is on YouTube or something, and it just, you see the camera just like fall. You hear screaming and the camera just falls because like the person who was filming just like lost his shit, and my trainer like ripped off his shirt and started and like threw it at me, and he was like, sucky ducky quack quack. That's like his favorite thing to say. He was like, oh my god, I can't believe it, you know. And so it got a reaction, and it stuck. It really stuck. So from that class, I think like people started posting about it on Twitter. I posted about it on Twitter, and it really just kind of like caught like wildfire. So that's where the fucking your mom thing came from. Not my mom, your mom, not my mom. Don't touch her.
Mom's not listening to this. I love it. I fully have embraced it, by the way. I love it. It's just that, like, here we say, like, you know, someone gets, you know, insults you, it's like, yeah, your mum. That's something we would say down here. Like, I think that's why I've gravitated towards the catchphrase. You know, she'll kick your ass, steal your girl, and fuck your mum. Chef kiss. It's brilliant. I mean, and you can kind of get away with it if you want to do family shows as well. You can say F your mum. You know, it's. I mean, I can't imagine it being. Yeah, I love it. Honestly, I think when I said in the intro, I didn't think I'd be saying that loud, but I'm so happy I did. But it has got over. So, like you say on Twitter, your Twitter game is really good, by the way. And there is someone I noticed on your Twitter, a fellow wrestler who's been on the show, Jay George, the director. So he's worn your t-shirt as well. He was a great guest. I want to know, what's your first impression of him, by the way? He's an interesting guy, I have to say.
Jay George is my first wrestling friend ever.
Oh.
He was the first wrestler I ever we met on the set of a music video that needed wrestlers, and I wasn't a wrestler yet, but I played one, and I met him, and we befriended each other because he was also kind of like hanging around the comedy scene a little bit, and he was like the first person who ever let me chop him. I didn't know what I was
wrestling,
doing.
is that like a compliment,
Yeah, I don't know, but he was like, here, hit me, we were like on the set of this music video, and he and I just really struck up a friendship. We kind of lost touch for like a second, and then I came back to wrestling and he was there, and we reunited. I think it was actually the same day as me cutting that promo. It was like Harry Aaron picture day, where like Harry Aaron, he's always done my promo shots. Any promo shots you see of mine are
oh really
photos.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And
he's so diverse, isn't he? So multi-talented.
Yeah, he's got so many, he's shot so many wrestlers, but he has so much good work. And so my first ever shots were like, that was like my first wrestling tweet, and I posted a couple of those shots and was like, I'm gonna steal your girl and fuck your mom, and then got like 1,000 likes. So that was fun. And but yeah, Jay George was there that day getting his promo shots as well, and that was kind of like when we reunited after like a long bout of not seeing each other. And he drops in. We had a match recently, like a couple months ago, and it was like one of the funnest matches in my career, the short career so far. But like, it was he's just such he's so good, but he's so fucking, he thinks different. He thinks really different, I
really like some of his editing as well, like just like the film posters he does, like the kind of spoofs, and I think he's so talented. I'm really big fan of him. I was glad to have him on.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. He cracks me up.
Nah, he's awesome. Cheap plug, if anyone hasn't listened to the episode, it's on my YouTube, Jay George, if you want to listen to it. Gotta plug yourself, ain't you, really? Has anyone been offended by that catchphrase, by the way? Like, has anyone sort of gone, no? I can imagine you get I don't know, maybe it's not been that case, but I can imagine you might get some Ned Flanders that might just kick off about it. But I think great. But has anyone told you no?
My mom. My mama hates it. She hates my whole shit.
Of all people, your own mom.
She's like, she just makes this face. It's just not for me. It's not for me, Like, it certainly is not. You are not the audience. But she is proud of me carving out a wrestling career all the same. Yeah, that Woodstock event that MV Young organized was in the promoter's mother's backyard, and I didn't get direct feedback, but seeing as she and her little Karen friend, who I think was like an auntie or something, they were the ones kicking us off the property. I think they didn't like how there was a band in their backyard screaming about fucking and me too, and me. And and that was like literally the first event to kick off this entire day, was like, sorry mom, playing I Fucked Your Mom, and me like screaming I fucked your mom as I'm like running around in the backyard.
Yeah, so you fully embrace the song.
Yeah, it was a lot. I blew myself up before I even got in the ring, big time. But yeah, it was that was probably the one circumstance where it was like pretty inappropriate. I'm not gonna say we shouldn't have done it, but it just didn't go over. It did go over
In your first match as well.
Yeah, it's like my first real match.
But with that, I mean, that can be used as like as a baby face or as a heel. It's oh, it's so different, but it's so effective. Like I absolutely love it. I did ask if it was okay to ask a question because it relates to your catchphrase and who you are in wrestling. I'm going to ask this question, and if my mom is listening to this episode, I'm so sorry for asking this question. You did raise your son better, but wrestling's poisoned my mind. If there's one famous mum, past or present, that you could fuck. YouTube's kicking me off, I know. Who would you pick and why?
Oh man. Lady Di was super fine.
Yeah, she was, wasn't she? She was a babe.
Oh my god, she's like definitely top 5 mommies. Let's see. Jennifer Coolidge from American Pie would probably be pretty great. Let's see. Who's like a really hot mom on TV right now? I don't even know. What do we watch? What are we watching right now? The mom from Modern Family, Cheryl Dunphy, she's really hot too.
I'll have to Google her just for research purposes. That's why.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say
if anyone has any suggestions, by the way, feel free to tweet us out, comment below, like any famous mums or any mums you might know that she could.
I mean,
fuck.
I can even the playing field and say that I would definitely fuck First Lady Dr. Jill Biden, you know? I mean, she's hot, she's smart. She is Joe Biden's wife and mommy to Big Biden. So, you know, nobody's off limits to me, and they're not off limits to me.
This is the first time on the show.
I'm not going to apologize, but if you need me,
I think I actually want to use this as a clip of its own and just share like mad. And I can't believe I'm actually going to put it on the title as well. But I'm going to have to use a unique word. If anyone has any suggestions for the word fuck, please let me know. I'm going to say that I'm going to be a professional host and prevent my family from seeing this video. So yeah, this is a different episode, but I've quite enjoyed it. Right.
I'm having a great time.
Do you have anything lined up that you can share on here? I know you said about the acting, but wrestling related. Do you have any upcoming shows or anything you would like to plug as we wrap this up?
Hell yeah. I have some local stuff this weekend. I'm gonna be in Syracuse, New York, to do some wrestling for Wild Zero, and then I'm gonna be April 30th doing a charity show called Dropkick Depression in New Jersey. And let's see, I'm not going to be in the UK anytime soon. Might not ever be allowed over there after. Tell her that I miss her. What a babe. Anyways, so stop. All my dogs are harassing me now. And let's see, that's pretty much it for I mean, I guess things that will be streaming. I'll be on Paris is Bumping, which is like gonna be a big gay festival in New Jersey in mid-June, and I believe it'll be streaming, but I'm not sure. Most of that stuff ends up on IWTV, so yeah, check it out.
No, that's cool. It's cool that you're involved in the show in terms of like mental health as well, dropkick depression as well. I think I did have an episode with the weirdo hero, Randy Myers.
Okay.
You get a chance. He actually did a short film series about mental health and wrestling. It's really good.
Oh, nice.
And we talked about a lot to do with mental health and wrestling. So that's not an actual cheap plug. That is just generally like, just if you have heard of him, if not, you know. And maybe watch the episode as well. But no. So I'm still laughing at earlier. I've got for you, Triff. No, that's awesome. I've really enjoyed this episode. We've had a fun. We had a fun conversation about wrestling, famous mums,
the most
acting,
famous mums.
You know,
Man, really pulled the big one out there, didn't I?
Where can the listeners find you on social media?
Hell, dude. I am at Sazzy Boatright on like every platform possible.
That's fine. I can put your link tree anyway. I don't know why I asked that question because I always put people's description, like details in description anyway. I'm so used to it, and
I mean, you gotta ask.
Oh
you
yeah,
gotta ask.
I mean that's what I'm glad to. You've come in here, had a laugh, and you give me your time, so I'm more than happy to promote your stuff. And fuck's sake, right? Thank you for coming on, Sazzy. I hope people's mums were highly entertained from this episode, and know that's maybe a possibility that you might fuck them one day. But for everyone that's listened to this episode, there's going to be more episodes of What Do You Call It podcast coming up very soon. Once I stop recording, I'll be able to wipe this grin on my face. Probably not going to happen, is it? I'll probably stop recording and still laugh out loud.
Listen, I'm a great dinner guest, okay? So if anybody's ever wondering why moms, that's one of the many reasons. Come on, guys.
I'm so glad it's not a family show. But thank you for coming on, everyone. There's going to be more episodes. But for now, take care and enjoy your weekend.